Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got a dog tag mastery video on the L96 bolt action sniper rifle. To get the mastery dog tag on any weapon you need 500 kills. That can take quite a while with the bolt action sniper rifle, and the L96 is one of the last bolt actions that I actually need to get my mastery dog tag with. Now I've sort of saved it till the last because, well, frankly, as cool as the L96 looks, the stats just don't really stand up to this weapon, stand up to the JNG 90 or other sniper rifles for that matter. So whenever I've decided that I'm going to snipe bolt action, I usually pick something else. Now I'm playing a game of Conquest on Nabondon Flats, and I'm on the shed in the middle of the map that may as well be called Sniper Shed because it's where all the snipers like to hang out on. And I can see why. It's actually the first time I've decided to try going bolt action up here, and you pretty much just have a clear view of the entire battlefield. At the same time, if somebody else is playing bolt action out in the field, then they have a pretty good idea of where you are. You can run from one side of the roof to the other to try and get some good cover, but once I sniped enough enemy players, all of a sudden I had a lot of baddies that knew exactly where I was located. Now, team deathmatch is actually a pretty good way to get kills with bolt action sniper rifles as long as you pick the appropriate maps that have a lot of cover, good hidey places, and long areas to shoot down. You don't want to engage in medium range. You want to maximize the range with bolt actions. It's kind of common sense, but every now and then you'll see those sniper montage videos and people are just getting all their kills up close. You want to maximize that range to be as effective as possible. Now, in this particular map, I had a lot of guys that were trying to get my tags. They're trying to sneak up on me, and here in a second you're going to see me shoot a guy at long range, and then all of a sudden I realized that the entire enemy team has surrounded me. And so when you get a bolt action sniper rifle and guys are trying to get your tags, well, make sure you got a good sidearm to deal with them. So I had a suppressed G18, and I managed to get a front knife on that guy there, and then overwhelming numbers eventually did away with me. Now, as much as I like team deathmatch on Gulf of Oman, it is one of the more computer intensive maps. If you're not getting a nice solid frame rate while you're playing, then it might actually be very difficult to snipe on here. And this is, I think it is the most intensive map graphically. So at some points my frames would dip into the 50s to 60s, which for me is very low. And at that rate, it's going to be hard to land your shots, especially if you're used to gaming at around 90 to 100 frames per second. Now, people have suggested using suppressor with the recon class to try and stay hidden. Like if you get up in a little house and you have a suppressed sniper rifle, you can stay off the mini-map and then players won't exactly know where the shots are coming from. And I don't like this technique for multiple reasons. One, the suppressor slows your bullet velocity down enough that it makes it very hard to hit moving targets. Also, if you kill somebody with it, well, they're going to know exactly where you are. So if you stay in the same location, you're going to have enemies pushing up on you. And then thirdly, if you just get a tugs or a motion sensor of any kind and you put it down in that building, well, you can anticipate the guys that are coming to kill you and pretty much kill them on their way up the stairs or however it is that they're going to flank you. Now, as for specking out the L96, I'm using the 8x sight on top here. I recommend sticking with one magnification level and getting used to it. Don't switch between like 7x, 8x, 12x. It's just going to throw off your aiming. There's different sensitivities between the zoom levels. If you get used to the zoom levels, it'll just start clicking after a while if you stick to one type of scope. So I suggest picking either the 8x or 12x scope for your bolt action sniper rifles and getting used to that. The 7x sights just take up too much of the screen and they just don't really use the screen space wisely, so I really can't recommend the 7x sight. Like most players, I'm using the straight pull bolt on here. It's a great way to be able to rechamber around as fast as possible. Even if you don't maintain your zooming down sights, you will still start reloading the gun as fast as possible so you can fire in the quickest intervals possible. Now here we go, 500 kills with the L96. Get my nice little fancy dog tag. But no time to celebrate. I'm going to have to switch to the crossbow and shoot this guy in the knee. Now, of course, I'm not comfortable with stopping it there and just leaving the L96 at 500 kills. Of course, I'm going to have to play a little bit more with it, make sure I get my time in with this bolt action sniper rifle. A lot of people do like the L96, and that's perfectly fine. It's not to say that it's a terrible weapon in the game. It's perfectly capable of doing a lot of damage. The only problem is that there were just some bad balance choices made when balancing this weapon versus some of the other bolt-action sniper rifles. So on its own, looking at it, it performs just fine. It's when you start comparing it to weapons like the JNG90, which outperform it in pretty much every single category, that the L96 becomes less attractive. Now here we are on Karkand, which I think the team deathmatch version of this map, even the conquest version of this map, maybe even Rush, are all really great ways to rank up bolt-action sniper rifles. You just rack up the kills. So many really long streets and alleyways and small dark holes that are great for shooting out of and shooting into. Lots of guys like to hang out in these windows, and frankly it makes them very easy shots for guys with a bolt-action sniper rifle. Now at this particular moment, I know that there's bad guys close to me. I can see them on my motion sensor, so I'm using the suppressed G18. Great for taking down guys in close quarters and staying off the minimap. I know more are coming, so again I'm maintaining the G18 suppression to make sure the bad guys don't know where I am. The crossbow is also another good alternative for those silence takedowns in close quarters. It all depends what map you're playing on, but I think maps that have a lot of good cover or buildings to hide in, I'll usually go with a Tugs or an MAV to try and spot guys sneaking up on me if I'm deciding to play a little more campy. If I'm playing in a map that's more open, where you need to take a lot of ground, move around a lot, then the crossbow seems to work out a little bit better. You don't have as much time to place down a Tugs or an MAV, or you're just going to move on and it's not going to really be beneficial to you anymore. Now it's funny, but I have been applying things that I learned in Airsoft to Battlefield. And one of the things that's very important in Airsoft is when you get into a building, a dark building, is to stay away from the windows. You can shoot out of the windows, but you want to back up as far back as you can, because it's going to conceal you much better. You're going to be darker, your weapon barrel won't be sticking out of the window, and I find that to be very, very helpful in Battlefield 3. Makes it harder for your enemies to spot you. Even with quick spotting, the further back you are, the smaller angle people have to actually see you, and so it's just going to conceal you that much better. Now generally I like to keep the discussions on my channel to Battlefield 3 and Airsoft exclusively, but I gotta say there's something that's been on my mind for a while, and I keep seeing these ads for the show on the National Geographic channel called Doomsday Castle, which is about people that are basically building a fort to withstand the apocalypse, whether it's the zombie apocalypse, some sort of viral outbreak, the collapse of civilization for whatever reason. They're building this mega castle and arming it with weapons and all that sort of stuff, and I keep thinking about it because I don't know, I'm just like fascinated with the whole concept of like building a fort for that. I'm sure they got their fair share of bolt-action sniper rifles. The show premieres on August 13th, and I'll be watching it for sure. I'd love to hear what you guys actually think about surviving the apocalypse and what your tactics might be. I'll probably be on Twitter while it's going on, and we can discuss the, I think it's a family's tactics for surviving the apocalypse. I'm sure they're going to make those silly mistakes that you always see in the zombie movies where they don't board up one window tight enough or something, then the zombies get through. Anyway, back to the gameplay here. The L96, despite it not being one of the best sniper rifles out there, is still more than capable. And if you like it, then that's totally fine. I bet if you practice enough with it, you can take down anybody, anytime with a JNG90. Let me know in the comments which weapon you'd like me to get the Mastery Dog Tag for next. In the video description, I'm going to have a list of all the guns that I don't yet have Mastery Dog Tags for. The list is getting smaller and smaller, thinking I can get all the masteries for the primary weapons before Battlefield 4. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.